everybody, it's Lon.TV, and the folks from iShare sent us their HDMI dongle to take a look at. And this is like a Chromecast kind of device. It's not as good as the Chromecast in that it doesn't have the app support and some of the other things that you might use a Chromecast for. But what it does do actually pretty well is Airplay Mirroring from an iOS device. In fact, the iOS device Airplay mirrors to this better than it does running the app that they designed to work with the iShare in the first place. So that was its one good check mark. The rest of the check marks aren't so good. But let's step through exactly what this is all about. You've got an HDMI connector on one side. You just plug it into your TV. If you don't have a TV that will support having something this big plugged into the back of it, they give you a little extender cable like all these other devices like this have as well. On the back, you have a micro USB connector for power, and you can plug it into a USB port on your television, or you can find a little USB AC adapter to plug into your wall. And they also have a Wi-Fi antenna built into that cable as well. So here we are at the home screen of the iShare, and they actually designed a really nice little instruction page here. They give you all the information you need to know. You've got the SSID and the password for the device. You also have QR codes that link to the App Store links for the apps that they have available for the iOS and Android platforms. And they also give you a link to download the app for Windows or Mac computers too. Now there's some issues though in that I cannot get my iPhone to find the iShare on my local network. Now I've configured everything properly. It's connected to my local network. I can only connect to the iShare with the iOS app by directly connecting to the Wi-Fi on the iShare. And that just isn't a very nice user experience because you have to rely on your cellular network, or if you have a Wi-Fi only iPod Touch or an iPad, you won't be able to use the internet at the same time you use the device, which actually kind of defeats the purpose of it. So at the moment, that doesn't work. I think it's probably a firmware bug. They'll probably correct it at some point, but right now it just doesn't seem to be working that way at all. Android tablets, at least this one, seems to connect just fine over my local network, and that's what we're going to use to demonstrate the app. So I'm going to pull up my screen here so you can get a sense for how that works. And here we are. Let me just pop into the app. So this is it here. And what's nice is they give you a couple of different options. I'm not sure if you can see what they all are, but I can click here, for example, and be able to toss photos from my tablet over to the iShare. And it actually feels very quick and very snappy. So you can do things like, I think I could even activate my camera here. Yeah, look at that. I can do a real-time camera view. It's actually keeping up very nicely. So the speed in which the devices talk to each other has been kind of impressive to me, and I really like how that's been working. You can also click here to get some video apps to pull up. These are, again, things that are going to play directly from your existing device, and you can kind of poke around and find those on there. Let me just back out. I don't have any videos on this device, but I'll show you something on the iPhone in a minute. You can also go over to Cloud Video, which I believe is YouTube. Yes, so we can go over to YouTube here and see what's available on YouTube. It's basically just connecting to their mobile version of their site, but you can go and click on play and play something if you want. I'm going to probably avoid doing most of these because they're all copyrighted and I'll get in trouble. But let's just start one of these anyhow. We'll see how it works. So we'll play this BuzzFeed video real quick, and when you click play, it will sync it up here and hopefully start playing. Let's see what happens. Hit it again. Hit it again. Let's say for some reason it doesn't seem to want to play very well here. Oh, it just crashed. And that's one of the problems you run into. So let me reboot the app real quick and we'll take another shot at this. All right, take two, and we're back. I was able to get my channel booted up on here, so we'll try to play back a video here, and we'll hit the play button and let that buffer up for a second. It does give you a lot of granular detail on the buffering, by the way, so if you're into that sort of thing, you'll be good to go. So the video quality isn't bad. I mean, it's certainly passable. Again, it just doesn't feel as nice as the Chromecast does, primarily because the Chromecast isn't relying on the tablet to play back the video. It is, actually going out, getting that video file and just downloading and streaming it directly to itself versus having to involve the tablet here. So, I think there's some advantages to using a Chromecast as a media streamer. Also, you saw that the app crashed. It will likely do that for you as well. Now, it also has a web browser built into the app, so if you tap it on your tablet, it will basically pull up a mirrored web session, and it's very quick. I've been very surprised by how nimble it is at displaying video from the tablet without having to first do any kind of mirror casting mumbo jumbo or anything like that. So here you go. You're in there. It's it's not obviously immediate, but it's certainly pretty zippy, and you're able to browse a web page on your device. I think it's going to again be very device dependent. So the faster your tablet, the faster it will stream and render on your display. So that's pretty cool. But let's take a look at mirrorcasting and see how we can do a straight Android mirror to our television. Now, mirrorcasting is something you have to initiate from the bottom of the screen here. It doesn't just sit in a mirrorcasting mode, so you have to kind of put it in that mode, and it gives you some instructions as to what you're supposed to do. So we're going to hit the little power button here, and then there's a little bit of a race that begins. So you've got to go back out of your system here because they want you to connect over your regular network, which we already are. We got to go back to our settings, and there we go, and we've got to go find the wireless display, and then we're going to find the iShare, and then what it's asking for is a PIN number, which is not the same as your Wi-Fi password. So as you can see, there's that 12345670, a very nice secure PIN. I don't know how you change that, but you hit done there, and hopefully this will work. Let's see what happens. Connecting. It's definitely not as easy as other mirror casting devices I've used where it just kind of connects. But as you can see, we are connected, and we've got our Android screen up here, and it's actually not bad. I don't know if you're going to game with this. There is a bit of a delay between the time that I'm moving my finger and you're seeing results on the screen. You're also seeing some video artifacts kind of creep in there as well. Now, I did pull up my Dreamcast emulator just to see how a game might run on here, and actually I'm surprised it keeps up with the frame rate pretty well, and the latency isn't bad. So I'm going to just tap on my button here, and you'll see just how the reaction time is. There is a bit of a lag there, so I would say it's not going to be great for hardcore gamers, but of the mirror casting devices I've tried, this one isn't too bad, but I don't think mirror casting is a good solution for gaming. But let me just back out of this, because what I want to show you next is how well it actually runs with AirPlay on the iOS platform. Now, what's interesting is that even though you have to jump through hoops for mirror casting, the AirPlay mirroring actually works really well. So all you do is grab your iOS device, just make sure that it's connected to your regular local network. So for some reason it works fine with AirPlay, but not with its own app. You click on the iShare that you'll see on your list of available AirPlay devices, tap on mirroring, and in a second or two, your iPhone will appear on your iShare, and it just seems to work very nicely, almost as good as an Apple TV. You can go out to your camera roll here, find a video to play, and this is off from my daughter playing out in the yard the other day. It takes a second for it to load up and get going, but once you're up and running, it will work pretty nicely, and we'll let this kind of play out here for a second. Again, the buffering sometimes takes a while, and I don't know why that is, and sometimes if you go out, hit the play button again, it usually kicks back up. So it's not as perfect as an Apple TV might be, but it's not bad, and it's certainly capable of playing back your videos that way. So what do I think of this? It feels a little beta, especially because the app crashes. It doesn't do the things that you would do with a Chromecast all that well, which would be playing from apps. So Netflix is going to be flaky, YouTube is going to be flaky like you saw, but it is a neat device if you want to have something that does both mirror casting and AirPlay mirroring in a single unit, and I think that is kind of a neat feature. The mirror casting was a little bit difficult to get set up on my Android tablet, as you saw, but the AirPlay was just almost seamless off of the iOS device, so I found that to be pretty helpful. So all in all, I think if you're looking for a Chromecast, get a Chromecast, but if you want something that will work with your iPhone, will do some cool stuff with the Android tablet, then this might be something worth giving a look at. But I really can't recommend it to a mainstream audience, but those looking for some of the features that I demonstrated might like it. This is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.